All right, we're good. Oh yeah, there's something about a plate track. Some people love them, some people hate them, but no matter what side of the spectrum you're on, you got to admit that these kind of tracks tend to put on a really good show, and especially with these guys. These guys have a really good track record here at plate tracks. Talladega, I believe, this year only had one single caution, so a lot of good racing to look forward to. We're still in practice here. You can see Matt Cherry is currently at the lead of the practice, but we got a gaggle of cars here, and this is just a bit of a sneak peek of what we're going to see later, Peter, as they go 3 wide here in practice, maybe just testing the boundaries. As somebody got up into the wall there, we're going to see that probably a few times. Yeah, the narrow part of this track is kind of what I'm picking up on what you said there, Peter. It is really unique in that aspect. And coming through the tri-oval, they have a little bit more width to work with. They can get 3-4 wide through that tri-oval, but of course, going back into turn one, it narrows right back up. So they're going to have to sweat that out, especially on the initial starts and any possible restarts. It's very different from the super speedways that these guys are used to. We'll put it that way. And right there, you can see another driver maybe trying to get down on that red and white line and getting a little bit loose. Can't really abuse the apron. Like any other super speedway track, if you get on the apron, that difference in grip is going to throw you for a loop. So you're going to have to watch that. But at the same time, you want to be as low as you can get because you don't want to leave that bottom open for somebody to get down there and maybe make a move. You can see right here, we got a few trucks maybe figuring out how they're going to make some passes. The 11 truck looked low, thought better of it. Now he's going to stay right on the bumper. And nice thing about these trucks too, Peter, is that you can really bump draft with these trucks. They're not like the next gen Cup car. They're not like the Gen 4 ARCA car. These things can take a shot going down the straightaway. So we're going to see a lot of teamwork and maybe some aggressive driving out there. Yep, we'll try to work through the technical difficulties here as practice is just coming to a close. We have about 4 minutes, give or take, of practice, and it's a track where these guys aren't really going to be practicing the track so much as they are practicing racing around one another and getting a sense for what it's going to be like racing in one of these massive packs that we're going to see. Tyler Bellinger in the in-server race chat just put, "Can I please get an EOL to start in the back?" And that goes to the old mantra. There's two safe places at a track like this: up front or in the back, and really anywhere in between, you're at a risk of getting into an incident and getting involved in a number of problems. So I think there's going to be a few drivers that are maybe trying to cheese the system by not qualifying, not putting down a Q lap, and starting as far back as they can. And we'll see what the strategies are. It's 130 laps in the race tonight, which sounds like a lot, but at a track like this that's wide open, no lifting, that's going to breeze by if they stay green. And I'm seeing the race control kind of actually offering up EOLs. I'm not sure if he's joking or not, but Scott Tompkins, the race control, just said, "Yeah, I got your EOL." So we'll see how that goes. But
well, let's see if the chat has me now. Chat, if you can hear me now, give me a thumbs up. Looks like Stay Tuned Sports in the chat here tonight. Not sure what everything was. Oh, Johnny Williams saying yes. Okay, good deal. Thank you, Johnny. I appreciate that. Not sure what that was all about, but unfortunately, something's just been up with my settings here tonight. Something was up with my settings, and I don't know if something got reset in Studio OBS or whatever. But Garrett Gleason saying, "Hey, Peter, thanks for responding to my PM about 4 days ago. I thought we were friends." Garrett, I just had a lot on my plate, buddy. You say that, and now all of a sudden I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot to do that. But I'll try and respond to you if I don't know if it makes a difference now or not. But hey, Andre got drivers out there on the racetrack right now. There is the fastest driver in town right now, Martin Pollute in the number 8 machine.
Yeah, Martin Pollute just barely at the top of the board, but then as we say that, immediately dethroned by Darling in that number 11 with a 32.16, so just 0.04 of a second between first and second so far in qualifying. And single car qualifying here at a plate track like this, you're going to see them wind up for one lap on the high line, build up as much momentum as they can, and then right here you see the number 17 down on that red and white line. That's going to be the strategy for the second lap, trying to make it as short as possible, cutting through the infield quad oval as close to that grass as he can get without getting a 1X, which would disqualify the lap time. And it looks like his lap time is going to be a 32.8, at least for the first lap. I believe he's got one more to go, so he didn't wind up around the top. That was his first lap. He went down low. Kind of interesting to see. We'll see if he improves it here on his second attempt. We got a minute and a half of qualifying left, and no, that was his final lap. I stand corrected. Cubed, because I was right the first time, and then I was wrong, and then I was right again. So Maher is going to post a 32.8, and that'll be it for him. Currently, Darling still standing on top of the pylon right ahead of Pollute, Scott, Tesoro, Jeff Price, and Vinny Valvano. And all of these drivers, Peter, just barely separated by anything more than a tenth until you get to Maher, who's a couple tenths back. But, man, the top five couldn't get much closer. As we ride on board, you can see what it takes to get around this track. Not a whole lot of technicality with this track, but a lot of finesse, a lot of fluidity, you'd say, a lot of flow. You got to keep that speed up, keep the momentum going, make sure that your revs are where you want them in the optimal range. And just running that middle groove right here on the backstretch, right above that first dashed white line. And he's going to dive it back down to that red and white line, get as close as he can without putting himself at any risk. We'll see what this lap time is going to be. Coming through the tribal here. Only 28 seconds left, so if that was not his second lap, I don't think he's going to have enough time for another one. But for Mathis, it's going to be a 32.29, just 1/100th of a second back from Price. And let's see, Peter, can he make it back to the line for another lap?
It's going to be close, but interestingly enough, we've only had 8 drivers take time in the qualifying session. It does not look like Mathis will get to the stripe in time as the qualifying timer falls to 0. And Chris Darling, how about that? The driver of the number 11 machine, a little bit of a new look on his machine here tonight. He will be starting on the pole. In fact, let's bring up tonight's starting lineup for you. The BeerStreetJournal.com 200 here in the National Stay Tuned Sports Truck Series. Chris Darling will be on the front row. Alongside him, the number 2 of Martin Pollute. A couple of teammates making up the front of the field. Philip Scott, Dominic Tesoro, row number 2. Jeff Price and Jeffrey Mathis on row number 3. Your top 6 separated by just 0.12 of a second. Vincent Valvano will be on the inside of row number 4. Tristan Maher in the number 17, who's been putting together such a fantastic season in his machine, looking to pick up points on the number 99 machine here tonight. Of course, Philip Scott not in the field. We'll be talking about that, and as well as talking about point situations here tonight, as we only have 3 races until the chase happens here. Adam Newton and Matt Cherry, the 29 and the number 5 trucks, will be rounding out our top 10 there, Andre.
And looking a little bit further back, we've got Scott Tompkins, the race control. He won't actually be in the field, but he's being scored in 11. Nate Maurer is going to start in what will actually be P11, but it's scored as P12. And from there, you've got Bellinger, Lester, Ben Mashburn, Justin White, Stan Hausman, David Buell, Doug Neal, Robbie Clavey, Garrett Gleason, Jim Casterline, Uncle Jimbo, P22, and Chris Hone there in 23rd. So I mentioned in practice, Peter, we might have a few drivers that just don't post a time so that they can start further towards the back, but seems like that strategy's been nullified because only a handful of cars did post a time. So we got drivers starting mid-pack that didn't even qualify, so I kind of foiled their plans there.
And I don't know what I was seeing. I must have been looking at yesterday's, because Philip Scott is in the field. I don't know why I even said his name. Sometimes we just have brain farts up here in the commentary booth. If you've been listening to us here on 3Y TV, you would know that we do have that from time to time. Ty Styles saying that there's going to be 6 DNFs tonight. A couple of drivers very much concerned about the accidents that we're going to have here tonight, how big they're going to be, because the big one here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway is a thing. It is at every super speedway. Julian Tesoro saying, let's go number 69. Tyler Bellinger for the win, says Ty Styles. Definitely going to be interesting. Tyler Bellinger saying 8 DNFs anticipated by him. What do you expect to see here tonight, Andre? I think 6 to 8. Those numbers seem reasonable based off of what we have seen in practice and some of the collisions, because when they happen fast here.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to go with no more than 4 DNFs. This is the point in the season where every point matters, and if you get involved in a wreck and your car still has 4 wheels and an engine, you're probably going to get back out on track just to try to salvage any points you can. And also, with these guys having a record of being pretty clean here at these super speedways, I don't think we're going to see too many incidents, and the incidents we do see, I don't think are going to be on the caliber of game-ending pileups. So we'll have to see how it goes, but I'm gonna lowball it here, and I'm gonna say no more than 4 DNFs. These guys have been pretty great at these tracks.
Yeah, they have been good all season long. Couple caution-free races. It really has been a wild ride as you look at the number 11 U-Haul machine of Chris Darling up at the front of the field. The iRacing pace truck is heading down pit road. We're going to get set to go green flag here tonight. Trying out some different things with the graphics here tonight as well. So let us know what your thoughts are as we are now green flag. 130 laps here around the Atlanta Motor Speedway as Chris Darling in the number 11 leads the field off towards turn number 1, and Philip Scott comes with him in that number 99 machine. Already Martin Pollute falling back into the 3rd position in his machine right there, having some connection issues as the 4th truck in line on the inside. That is Jeff Price in the number 14. Look at the number 69. That is Dominic Tesoro running currently in the 4th position. He, in that Toyota, is trying to get his way up to the front. Started in 4th, still running in 4th. We've had a couple of drivers make some big moves. Jason Gracia is probably the biggest mover of all. He started this race, believe it or not, Andre, he started at least on the scoring pile in 23rd. He just broke the top 10. We're on lap 2.
Yeah, there is a lot of opportunity to make up time and make up positions at these super speedways. And if you know how to navigate the traffic and if you're confident enough, you can really make some passes. But confidence is the key because, anybody can get a huge run in the draft and say, well, I'm just going to send it. But in order for that run to be successful and to be clean, you got to be confident. You got to know what you're doing. And it seems like he definitely has ticked both of those boxes. As one thing I'm noticing here, Peter, is that the bottom line up front seems to be the more organized line. That seems to be where everybody is. But then you get a little bit further back. You get just behind Gracias in the number 1, and the outside line is actually more formed up a little bit further back. They're making up some time, but it seems like some of those drivers that were in that top line are starting to drop down and just fall single file in order to ride this thing out because they weren't making up as much time as they felt like they needed to. And also maybe just feeling like, hey, it's early in the race. We need to preserve these cars, make sure everything's ready to go for the end when it matters. But as I say that, things get pretty interesting up front, proven wrong again, as we have the number 17 making a lunge. He's actually going to make the pass on Vincent Valvano in pretty dramatic fashion. A side draft on Valvano sends him falling back a little ways. He's in a side-by-side battle with that number 29 machine, Adam Newton. So these guys were single file, and they were patient, but it did not take long for things to get a little bit crazy here.
Yeah, already 2x2 drivers trying to give each other quite a bit of room. Here we go on board with our new race leader, Martin Pollute, who got himself up to the front after passing Chris Darling there just a moment ago. He will come across the stripe as our leader for the first time. So I believe that's our first lead change in the opening 5 laps. You see all these drivers doing a good job of getting all fanned out, and we've seen some really good drives out of these drivers so far this season. As man, I just realized that I don't even think anyone's hearing any of these trucks. Let me see if I can I can figure that one out here, Andre, because hey, I think these people back at home want to hear some trucks. Let me see if I can figure that out. You can just commentate for just a moment.
Yeah, we'll see if we get that figured out. But up front, we got Martin Pollute leading the way. Had a lot of success early on in the season. He's kind of been absent for a couple races and actually had a little bit of bad luck last week. So nice to see him back in form here, trying to lead some laps and add some laps to that statistic there. As behind him, we've got everybody scrambling for position. We are still 2x2 pretty much all the way back until you get to Robbie Clavey. He's the first one single file back here. But all the way back to 12th, we are battling for position. Adam Newton was up in about 6th. Now he's back to 11th here. So Newton kind of going in the wrong direction, but both lanes seeming to be very equally paced. I'm not seeing either one gain much of an advantage. Martin Pollute is now under fire from the 69, Dominic Tesoro, but he's not quite getting enough of a run to complete the pass and to be able to clear himself and duck down and make that block. They're really just kind of turning the exact same lap time, staying nose to nose, and that's what you like to see. Both lanes being this even is not a very common thing at plate races, but it seems like it doesn't really matter where you're at. It's going to be pretty even. It's more about using the draft, using the runs, and kind of having the car knowledge to be able to put it where you need to put it. But Martin Pollute does
trying to figure things out, and let's see if now maybe there's sound. Yes, no, maybe so. No, well, okay, I'm getting some sound. Let me fiddle around with it, folks, and see if we can sort this all out for you folks. I just don't know why things are behaving like they are. Put it that way. Everything seems to have completely thrown its way around, and I believe now, maybe, let me know if you can hear the trucks now working on the fly. But Martin Pollute up at the front of the field, a couple of those MaxGrafix racing machines. But look at who's starting to creep around on the outside on that second row. That is Dominic Tesoro, the number 69 machine. Got Jason Gracias tucked up back behind him. Tesoro started this race in 4th. Right back behind him, that number 1 machine, Jason Gracias, on the scoring pylon, started in 23rd. Somehow gained 18 positions, at least per my software, which is pretty ridiculous, all things considered. That Gracias is now running up in the 5th position, at least per my live timing and scoring. Not sure if he actually did start that far back, but nonetheless, we know Gracias is really fast. Andre winner many times so far this season here in the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series.
Yeah, Gracias is showing a lot of pace tonight, and I think with this track being what it is, it's not going to be entirely about pace. It's going to be a little bit about patience. You can't be too gung-ho. You still got to have a truck underneath you at the end of the day. But going back to the technical issues we had there, Peter, a wise man once said, computers do not make mistakes, but they do on purpose. And I think the computers are out to get you tonight, Peter, because we've had a number of technical difficulties, but hopefully we got them all sorted out. As what is not sorted out is the pack here up front. These guys are starting to weave up and down this backstretch. My favorite phrase, it's like trying to draft a caterpillar with these guys down the straightaway. They are up and down, trying to break the draft, and not doing a very good job of it because they are staying right on each other's deck plates here. And Jason Gracias giving a little bit of room to the 69 truck, and I like that move right there because if you can give the guy in front of you a little bit of breathing room and make it so he's not too uncomfortable, he's going to be a little bit easier to work with. Back yourself up, give you a chance to run up, give him a shot into the corner like that, and then when you're going through the corner, you don't need to be pushing. You don't need to be up on that bumper. You can lay back a little bit, just like what Gracias is doing, and then you accelerate right here. You're going to see him pull up to the rear bumper, give him a push. That's how you want to do it. You do not want to be pushing in these corners. That could be disastrous.
Yeah, very well could be. On board right now with Jason Gracias right here behind Dominic Tesoro. As we had that onboard just a moment ago with the number 14 of Jeff Price. He's kind of laying back just a little bit. It looks like Chris Darling going to be pushed up to the front by Dominic Tesoro. Tesoro is really favoring that higher groove, Andre. I'm starting to see that as this run goes on just a little bit, that I think that higher line is starting to be favored a little bit, as now Dominic Tesoro cuts underneath the number 11 of Chris Darling, looking for the lead for the first time here tonight. Just as, of course, as you had this happen to you just a while ago, where all of a sudden someone proved you wrong. I'm saying Tesoro's loving that high groove, and he cuts down to the bottom side. So all of these people back at home going, you know what, commentators, you guys don't know anything. We're the ones behind the wheel, and we're the ones who want to get out here and get the checkered flag tonight.
And these races are so unpredictable. We can say what we think is going to happen or what we think is going to work out till the cows come home, but at the end of the day, man, anything can happen on any given lap here, so we're just kind of along for the ride, and hopefully we can, get things figured out and be as accurate as possible. But, man, when you got guys swapping positions, getting runs and fading back and forth, it's pretty tough. I'll tell you what, Ben Mashburn in the number 4, I've been watching him for a little while here, and he's one of those drivers that I think is a bit undecided where he wants to be. Sometimes he's up high, sometimes he's down low. He tends to lean towards the high side. That is where he spends the majority of his time, but he's not afraid to duck down behind Balvano when that 64 gets the run. And I'm not sure he's really dedicated to either line. I think he's just trying to go where the speed is. Up front, we got an issue. Looks like the number 11 is going to get big sideways down to the apron, remerge onto the track in the lead, but then immediately give that lead back up to Tesoro, the ultimate benefactor here, as through all that chaos, Martin Pollute falls from first to third, and Ben Mashburn, the driver I was just talking.
Yeah, let's see if we can catch that one here on this 3-wide TV replay coming down the backstretch. Oh, man. Got thrown down there below that line, and geez, had to get everything all caught up. Good save there by the number 11 machine, as we're back live scenes right here as Dominic Tesoro trying to go back up to the lead. Ben Mashburn now trying to push the number 69 as we got to the U-Hauls all in the packages up there at the front of the field. Number 11 of Chris Darling and the number 4 Ben Mashburn. Very similar paint schemes here tonight as they say I can rent the truck for $19.99. That, tell you what, for a virtual truck, I don't know if I'm going to pay that for $19.99 to be perfectly honest, but hey, they're looking really good up there and fast as Mashburn works his way up into third. Could end up with second here in a moment if that high line can prevail here.
Yeah, I think you can buy one of these trucks for about $12 there, Peter, so I'm not sure that's a good deal, but, we can always work on the pricing, maybe haggle. Maybe they expect people to haggle, that's why they're kind of highballing it there. We can get that down to about $11, I'm sure, but Yeah, the number 11, you would never know that he was sliding through the infield sideways just a couple laps ago, because he is fighting for the lead even still. My question, Peter, is are his tires now at a disadvantage for having slip and put the heat cycle through them? Are tires even going to be a factor here? I know in the Cup car, as the tires wore, the track actually stopped being a full throttle track. You actually did have to lift a little bit in 1 and 2 just because of the excess speed that you were carrying from the quad oval. The truck's been a little bit slower. Maybe they stay wide open. Maybe the tire wear isn't going to matter as much, but it is something to keep an eye on just in case.
Yeah, and I just wonder how long into the run we can go without these drivers coming down to make a pit stop. We have been green flagged since the start of the race. Starting to notice a couple of drivers with a little bit of damage as well. Tristan Maher's front end is knocked in. I think Jason Gracias' rear end has a little bit of damage, but I expect these drivers to go maybe to lap number 50 to 60 or so. I would think if you can make it to lap number 50, Andre, you're able to turn this race into a two-stop strategy. So if these drivers can make it to lap number 50, I think that's when we'll see drivers down pit road for the first time. If not, you'd have to think around lap number 40 as our front two get mighty close there off of turn 2.
Yeah, that's a bit of an understatement there. That was really, really close. And it seems like even though you can bump draft, you still got to be careful. If you're not lined up properly or if you hit them too hard, you might get sideways. Now, obviously, both drivers who've gotten sideways today have managed to save it, but your luck's going to run out at some point. So maybe be a little patient here. We're going to go nearly 3 wide for the lead. Gracias thought about it, was unable to get there before the door was closed by Darling in that number 11. So the number 4, the number 11, near identical paint schemes, still side by side up front. They're going to hold on to her. And if you're some of these drivers a little bit further back, you're thinking, man, I've seen these guys get so sideways a number of times now. They might be getting nervous, but look at this, by the way, Peter. Number 5, the number 5 of Matt Cherry. Where did he come from? We haven't said his name all night. Now he's up inside the top 5.
Yeah, Matt Cherry sporting that Ricky Hendrick scheme right there, or at least Ricky Hendrick inspired scheme. One might say it's a Kyle Larson scheme, but we all know it's Ricky Hendrick. We thought about going 3 wide there, as it looked like Ben Mashburn got a little wiggle, but Cherry's always been good at the Atlanta Motor Speedway if he does not get involved in an accident. I think back to one of the very first races we ever broadcasted here in the National Sim Racing Association Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series, now probably 2 years ago. And I was extremely impressed with Matt Cherry here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Came out, dominated the race, led a majority of the laps. I think he even started on the pole, but could not seal the deal. Ended up week after week with problems. Same thing happened at the Atlanta Motor Speedway that season. We've seen him in the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series here in the NSRA be very fast here at this racetrack, but have problems keeping the race truck underneath him, at least on the old version. This new version of Atlanta Motor Speedway has quite a bit more grip, and you can kind of stay pretty much flat out, as there is a picture of Matt there at the bottom of the screen. So hopefully Matt can keep it all together in this new version of the Atlanta Motor Speedway. It definitely has more grip than the last one, so I think that will just help the driver of the number 5 machine, because we know he likes the quad oval. He's fast at the quad oval. He just needs to be able to seal the deal. Definitely one to keep an eye on here tonight as the lap counter winds down. It'll be 100 laps to go this time by when we complete lap number 30. The laps really clicking off in a hurry here as these drivers pretty much flat out. You see they're all able to draft together. Now Tristan Maher trying to have a look to the race lead in the Eclipse Photography F-150. Sure looks like a lot of damage on the front, but Andre, sometimes a lot of damage on the front in iRacing means not a whole lot, as the 17 goes to lead for the first time tonight.
Yeah, the damage in this game is very strange. Sometimes one wrong hit in the wrong place, the car can look pristine, but it's completely totaled. And other times, you can have situations like that where the front end is completely bent in, and it's not going to affect your performance that much. So we'll have to wait and see. Time will tell what that's going to do the number 17. But Matt Cherry going to make a move to the outside, and said he's good here at the quad oval, and he is proving to be really fast here as he has marched through the field. And we're going to see if he can maybe make a move on the high line here. We haven't seen too many passes for the lead on the top, but with how fast he's been tonight, he might have a shot at it. And, you know, Peter, you mentioned the increased grip that you have at this track versus some of the other plate tracks. With this brand new surface, this track is really smooth and it has a lot of grip, and that has a bit of an interesting side effect in that there's not a whole lot of force feedback. If you got a force feedback wheel hooked up, which I'm sure all of these guys do, you're not feeling a whole lot through the corners. The wheel can get a little bit floaty, and I know that makes these plate races a bit of a challenge in general, even at tracks like Daytona and Talladega, but that's just amplified here. So they got to be real, I would say, precise and very intuitive when it comes to their input. They got to be very careful not to be too aggressive, because sometimes your truck might be doing things that you can't quite feel in the wheel with this brand new surface. Not any bumps, not any resistance when you turn into the corner. So just kind of something to keep in mind there as the number 5 falls back a little bit. He's going to be side by side with Gracias, goes in for the side draft, and it's not quite going to work. It might drag the number 1 back a little ways, but that bottom line is so formed up right now. We've got cars all the way back on that bottom line, and they're going to have the draft advantage no matter what you do to side draft them. And as we say that, here comes everybody down pit road, and Valvano is going to get a little bit sideways. Where does Martin Pollute go? I think Martin Pollute went through Valvano. Nowhere to really go in that situation for Pollute.
Oh, the cone! Garrett, you killed the cone! Oh, buddy.
And number 7. I'll have to suss out exactly what happened here. So everybody did a really good job of getting slowed down, but I think right there Valvano tried to get on the brakes to avoid rear-ending the number 1, and it just kicked out on him. And you got Martin Pollute, who's already got cars behind him and in front of him kind of getting sideways, and unfortunately nowhere to go as he and the number 7 come pit road here. That was not a caution, I don't believe. And Peter, when you're pitting by yourself and you lose that main pack, when you come out, you're going to be a lot slower because you don't have anybody to really work with. So these guys, more pit road issues. The 73 commits cone homicide number 2. The replay. Again, just coming in a little bit too quick as we have some more cars coming down pit road. The number 21 truck, who I believe usually runs a Ford credit scheme. This week he's back to the Batman scheme we saw earlier in the season. Right sides go up, and there's Adam Newton getting his car serviced. But yeah, some of these drivers, Peter, they're at a disadvantage because they're not going to cycle out with a draft partner.
Yeah, and the number 39 machine of Stan Houseman, have not mentioned him here tonight. Local to the Atlanta area, the number 39 right there, BeerStreetJournal.com. Of course, also tonight's race sponsor. If you have not checked out BeerStreetJournal.com yet, definitely do so. I'm actually awaiting a text message from one of my frequent bars that I visit to let me know when they tap a banana pudding beer. Yes, a banana pudding beer. I have no... Oh, no! The 48 of Tom Lester has gone around here on the front straight, also having problems getting to pit lane, also having some connection issues. We'll finally get down onto pit road. But I'll tell you what, that banana pudding beer just sounds interesting. Now, craziness has happened out there on the racetrack, Andre. Just looking at how everything cycled out, Matt Cherry and Philip Scott are on their own island. They both pitted on lap number 35, and look at the lead these two have. It is a big gap back to the next car behind them. That is Jeff Price, who's leading kind of a small group. And he's got another gang of trucks right back behind him, but at least for now, Matt Cherry and Philip Scott are well out front. But let's think about the implications of the fact that these drivers kind of pitted around lap number 35. That means the drivers can make it to lap number 70, which is just past the halfway mark. So we're looking at a 3-stop strategy for a majority of the field. Not sure if anyone was able to stretch it as far as lap number 40, at least based off of what I'm seeing. No one did. So I think everyone is on a 3-stopper here tonight. We'll see if that holds true. But the number 14 of Jeff Price here, he was far enough ahead there. Andre kind of got caught, and this group is moving very quickly, and they're quickly closing in on the front two as the numbers are with this pack right here. As Chris Darling gets loose. What a save, and contact, and that's Jeffrey Mathis who saves it. How was that not a caution?
Man, oh man. I mean, they were wrecking all the way through the corner and somehow never did. So coming through the corner here, the 11 didn't get any help there. That might have been some aero loose, maybe took the air off the spoiler, but either way, the number 17 didn't really have anywhere to go as these guys checked up, so he made some more contact. Man. That was a piece of driving right there. To go on board, I believe, is this another replay here, Peter? Yes, it is, as you're right along with the number 1, Jason Gracias. He was right behind all this. Heads up driving by room. I tell you what, Peter, these guys are something else at plate races. If this was an iRacing public lobby or any other league, I think that would have been a 10-car pileup. These guys, dude, reflexes of a cat, every single one of them.
Yeah, they somehow make that look easy. I mean, that's not easy. It's definitely easier to wreck, that's for certain. But at least right now, Gracias has kind of lost that pack. We had about 6 trucks in that main pack, or that group that we saw. It broke up. Now we have a 5-truck pack at the very front of the field, as Ben Mashburn in the number 4 machine led a 3-car tandem and ran down the number 99 of Philip Scott, and that time by Ben Mashburn was your race leader, as we have been green flag for the opening 43 laps, and that's probably going to be the kiss of death, Andre. We mentioned it. They're likely going to have a caution flag here soon, but these drivers they've been trying to cause caution flags. They've just none have been thrown.
Yeah, we're on lap 44. We've had probably half a dozen incidents so far, but none of them have culminated in a caution, largely thanks to a few of them being on pit road. I think some of those pit road incidents, were they on the racing surface, definitely would have queued up the flagman to wave that yellow flag, but so far, no caution for Taz yet, and there's a lot of drivers that are going to need a caution. You've got Nate Maurer, you've got White in the number 2 machine back there. These guys are 2 seconds back from the next car ahead, who himself is about 2 seconds back from Pollute and Price, and we've just got a lot of separate packs that have formed due to all the chaos separating everybody. But the lead pack itself is still pretty sizable. Mashburn leading the way ahead of Darling. You've got Maher, Matt Cherry, Philip Scott, Mathis, Bellinger, Newton. All of these guys are right with one another, and it's surprising how quickly they came back together, Peter. After that chaotic pit sequence, I would have thought, yep, we're going to have 2 or 3 packs that are just kind of off in their own little world until the next pit sequence. But no, these guys found each other really quick.
Yeah, I'm just as shocked as you are, to be honest here, that they were able to get all formed back up together, even though we pretty much almost caused an accident. Maybe that ended up helping the whole scheme of things. Get a couple more trucks scattered around the racetrack and allow them to glob together slowly and surely, kind of build like sand in a timer. But, I'll tell you what, Ben Mashburn, the number 4 truck, you talked about him earlier. He's currently up there at the front of the field leading his way, although the number 17, Tristan Maher, wants to have a crack at the front. Eclipse Photography on the hood of the number 17, one of our other series sponsors here in the National Sim Racing Association. We talk about BeerStreetJournal.com and all that they bring to the table. But what about Stay Tuned Sports Podcast? I know we got Jimbo in the chat here tonight. Jimbo, I know you're probably going, he's asking if cautions are even on in the chat. I believe they are, Jimbo, but you know what? No one's throwing them, as Mashburn here going to jump up to the top side to throw a block on Maher, lead another lap as we close in on lap number 50. Banana Pudding Beer. Stay Tuned Sports saying, I want to say I lost respect for you, but it does sound interesting. It does, doesn't it? I'm not saying I'm going to like it. I'm just saying it sounds interesting enough for me to try it. Because I have definitely had certain beers and I'm like, oh man, that's going to be amazing. until you have it. And you're like, oh, that's awful. I had one recently that was themed of The Office, and it was called Pretzel Day. Of course, Stanley Hudson's favorite day of all. And I wasn't a big fan. I love The Office. I love the fact that someone decided to do an Office-themed beer. But man, when I tried it, it wasn't my favorite. So we'll see how the banana pudding is. You can ask me next week, Jimbo, and how that one is. But it's something for me to try. And if you want to find out about some of those funky craft beers, well, you can find out all the news from BeerStreetJournal.com. And I follow them on Facebook and Twitter as well as, Tristan Maher there. Andre got a big shot by Ben Mashburn.
You know, I'm not even sure it was that big of a push. I think it's just a little bit of getting aero loose here. That number 17 is continuing to pile up a little bit of bodywork damage here and there. And that is going to mess up the aero, make it a little bit more sensitive. So he's got to be careful with these trucks behind him and alongside him, disrupting the airflow and getting that thing unsettled. But so far, he's doing a good job holding on to the lead. As we look back, it's kind of like looking into a hornet's nest here from the back bumper of the 17. It is just a swarm of trucks back there, too wide all the way back. Every single one of them looking for the very first opportunity to get up front. They saw him got loose, they smelled the blood in the water, and now they want to take that lead for themselves, especially Mashburn, because he knows he's fast enough to lead this thing. He knows he can get up there, and he knows that he can hold that lead. He's done it before, and that kind of lights a fire under you. When you have a good run early on, when you show that, yeah, I've got this pace, I can win this thing, that kind of makes you a little bit more aggressive. It kind of makes you confident. So I would not expect him to be too patient as they're weaving into the corner there. That was a little bit startling. I thought we might have an incident there, but again, these guys prove to be really impressive, these play tracks. Going back to that banana beer there, I feel like it might not be too bad. Now, a while back, I tried a banana pudding bubble tea, and I thought I was going to hate it because I normally don't even like banana-flavored things. It was actually one of the best things I think I've drank in like the last 2 years. So if the beer is anything like that, I would imagine it's a little bit more bitter than the tea would be, obviously. But honestly, it could stand to be a little bit more bitter. I'll bet you it's pretty good, and I will follow up with you on that next week.
Yeah, definitely stay tuned for more on that. Of course, also stay tuned to Stay Tuned Sports, and their Podbean link is in the description if you're listening to the podcast. But right now, closing in on the halfway mark, 2x2 for second. Number 4, Ben Mashburn on the inside of the number 1, Jason Gracias. Still, Tristan Maher is our race leader. Look at Julian Tesoro. We said he liked that higher line. He's back up there. Stan Hausman in the BeerStreetJournal.com, number 39, their third truck on the high side. I was a bit concerned that Stan Hausman kind of came down pit lane without any drafting partners, but in all the chaos that happened, he's been able to form back up with the lead group and try and push his way up to the front as we will now be 10 laps away from the cross flags. The laps really ticking off in a hurry here on 3 Wide TV here tonight as the inside line checks up just a little bit on entry into turn number 1 and 2. And that's the thing I've been noticing about that inside line, Andre. It seems like when we have seen drivers get loose, it has been on the inside line, and drivers have had to check up down there. I think it kind of you can kind of accordion down there a little bit more than you do on that high line. You see them kind of all broken up right now on that inside line. Now they kind of accordion back together, but that high line seems pretty stable, but it's just the longer way around the racetrack.
Yeah, it is the longer way around the racetrack, but you're absolutely right about it being stable. We even mentioned it in practice that if you get too far down on the bottom, you're kind of pinching your truck a little bit. It is going to get loose, so you've got to be really smooth on the inputs, and you got to make sure that if there's somebody behind you, they're not putting too much air off of your spoiler and getting you sideways. Kind of risk versus reward. The high line, even though it is the longer way around the track, it is proving to be pretty formidable. I mean, Jason Gracias up there, he's putting up a good fight. We've seen very little passing from the top, but they are able to at least hold their own. It's not like they're going backwards by any means. As Gracias disconnects there for just a second, a little bit of blinking. So, you know, it's a difficult choice. If I was a driver in this race, I wouldn't know where I'd want to be. Generally, I'd say, yeah, the bottom is the place to be at a plate track, but with how many near incidents we've seen, maybe I'm second guessing that as Maher continues to hold the lead. He's going to move up and down, trying to block both lanes. And man, that is probably the most difficult thing to do in a plate race, Peter, is when you've got 2 or even 3 trucks behind you that are getting a run, and you got to somehow make your single truck 2 or 3 trucks wide. And you have to do it clean. Because if you make one miscalculation, if they're just a little bit quicker, if that closing rate is a little bit faster than you expected, it's very easy to accidentally clip somebody's bumper, and it's pure chaos from there. You've got to be smooth, you've got to be careful, and you've got to be aggressive with the blocks. Otherwise, you are going to hand the lead to somebody else on a silver platter. We're on board with Martin Pollute right now. He's behind this lead pack by just a small distance, about 2 car lengths, and I think that is by design, Peter. I think he's watching these guys race. He knows that he's still got a little over halfway before we get to the end of this thing, and as long as he can stay in the draft, he's got a chance. We've seen some of these drivers make in excess of 7 to 8 passes per lap, so being this far back is no big thing. If he needs to strike, if he needs to get up there, he can, but right now he's just keeping himself safe.
Yeah, Martin Pollute, I think, is where I would want to be right now, just a little bit further back. I do want to touch on a couple of things under the first round of pit stops. One of those is this driver right here, the number 77 machine of Doug Neal. Pit road penalty for the number 77. He finds himself 1 lap down in the Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Award position. So if a caution flag was to come out, that would put Doug Neal back on to the lead lap. He's running with a smaller group of drivers, a couple of others that had problems, including the driver who just passed him and put himself now in the Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog position. That is the 73 of Robert Clavey. We saw what happened to him, and he had a big wiggle there coming out of turn number 4. I don't know. I just feel like things are slowly ticking towards you. You know, they have the doomsday clock where it just slowly ticks towards when they think we're going to have like a nuclear war that just wipes out the human race. Well, I kind of feel like we're kind of ticking towards when we're going to wipe out the NSRA race here tonight, as Garrett Gleason looked like he might have had a little bit of a moment there on entry into turn number 3. But this group of trucks back here, Andre, they're kind of all by themselves. They just don't look very stable.
Well, and you know, sometimes that can be the case. If you're on your own, your truck's going to be a little bit looser. And if you're in a small pack, oh boy, big incident. This is the first caution of the night. Matt Cherry spinning through the infield. Number 99 barely escaping. I'm not sure if he made any contact there. Don't see a whole lot of damage on the 5. We'll go ahead and number 5 in this replay, see what transpired. So it looks like it was ahead of him. The number 4 truck got a little bit sideways. That caused an accordion effect, and Matt Cherry just got shuffled through the field. A little bit of contact from Martin Pollute, but to stay off of the number 5 and keep his own truck clean. Taking another look at it here. Number 4 really kind of just got loose on his own. He was coming down the track, made some contact with that low line, and then bounced up into that outside wall, and it was just chaos from there. And, man, just getting loose quite frequently. I got to wonder if maybe it's a tire pressure thing. Maybe it's just the way they're driving. They're heating those tires up. But now, a little bit of damage to contend with on those things.
Yeah, a couple of drivers experiencing a little bit of damage here, as we got pretty much the entire field on pit lane for the second time here tonight, right on the halfway mark. The drivers will see cross flags here in just a moment. Looks like Chris Darling will win the race off pit road. Meanwhile, here comes the rest of the pack back behind him. Great pit stop for the U-Haul crew. Do want to make mention, however, that we were just talking about that battle, Andre, for the Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog position. Well, it is going to go to the number 77 machine of Doug Neal, who had just got past Robert Clavey when that caution flag came out. We saw what happened to Clavey when he got loose there, and unfortunately for Clavey, that kind of took him out of the running for the Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Award under this caution. So Doug Neal trying to bounce back after a green flag pit lane mishap. just a little while ago. But wow, it took us 63 laps, Andre, to see the first yellow flag of the night. What a great race it has been so far, and a great way to have the first race at this new Atlanta Motor Speedway here on 3 Wide TV. I believe tonight's the first time any of the leagues that we broadcast have come here, so pretty cool to see this racetrack in action with these trucks.
Yeah, definitely been a fun race to watch, and I predicted before the drop of the green that these guys were going to keep it pretty clean, and you can't complain about waiting until almost the halfway mark to get our first caution. That is a lot longer than I think most leagues would have gone, and even with that wreck, we didn't get a whole lot of damage out of it. Just some drivers sliding through the infield, a little bit of bumping here and there. Overall, I think those guys are going to be able to continue. So good to see, as we do have a replay dialing up here.
Hey, Andre, I'm just going to fix something here under this caution flag. Again, all of my audio settings have been reset and screwed up. So let me just fix something here while we're under caution before we go back to green, so we won't get cut out. Thank you to Johnny Williams in the chat. Just bear with us for one moment here, folks. Okay, so it seems like my audio still works. All right, let me see if I can fix Andre's.
We're working on the fly here. Let's see. Andre, can you just say something real fast? I don't think anyone will be able to hear you. Okay, I think I know.
All right, now try saying something.
Something.
Okay, they can hear you. Woohoo! All right. Didn't miss the green flag. Green flag back in the air here.
There we go.
And just fixed it in time. The number 11 machine of Chris Darling out front. Folks, I don't know why it decided to reset all my settings, but it did. Chris Darling leads us back to the green flag here for only the second time here tonight. Look at Philip Scott, our points leader there, running in second in the World Ninja League. Number 99, the blue machine, the blue oval blue machine, now sporting that World Ninja League, as the National Ninja League has gone global, if you've been following that storyline this season. And now Philip Scott says the World Ninja League wants to do one better and take the lead here at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
He's going to make a good effort at it. He had the advantage going into the corner. Let's see if the number 39 of Hausman can get him a good push here. If I can speak properly, we're going to see if he can give him a shot down the back straightaway, peeking his nose down, just trying to, I think, get a line of sight into the corner. Sometimes you're going to see that where they duck out of line, and I don't think it's because they're trying to cool the engines down. I don't think it's because they're trying to pass. I think they're just genuinely trying to get a reference as to where they are on the track. When you are right up on somebody's tailgate, you pretty much can't see anything except for that truck. So you kind of have to step out of line and say, okay, here's my entry point. I know where we're at. We're good. That's kind of what Hausman did, but it did cost them a little bit of time. And that outside line is falling back, looking through a windshield right at Martin Pollute. And I want to point out the timing and scoring here, as we are riding on board with Matt. We're not riding on board with Matt Cherry. Yes, we are. We're riding on board with Matt Cherry. Heavily involved in that last caution. Already back up inside the top 5, Peter.
Yeah, and oh my gosh, now more things for me to sort out. Okay, let's try that, and let's try that. All right, now I think we're back in business, folks. Thank you very much to the Stay Tuned Sports in the chat. Okay, boy, I tell you, doing things on the fly. Okay, does it sound like a robot? All right. Anyway, hopefully it's all fixed. Let me know. Stay tuned, sports. Thank you, Jimbo. So Chris Darling is our race leader as they're starting to snake their way down the backstretch. That caution flag was pretty big for some of those drivers that we were also seeing struggling, like Garrett Gleason, who were about 17 to 18 seconds behind the leaders. Now they can get in the lead pack as Matt Cherry, who was just spinning a few laps ago, Andre, goes to the front.
Yeah, he is going to take the lead. I would not have expected to see this when we were watching that last caution transpire, but here he is taking the point just ahead of the 99. I don't think he was able to get clear there, so the number 99 of Scott still trying to fight back up on the high line, but it's going to be difficult. As we've seen all night tonight, you can get good runs up towards the top, but you can't seem to follow through and actually take the position unless you've got a massive amount of help. Now, he does have a huge push through the quad oval coming from the number 4 machine, and that might actually surge him up to the lead if he can carry this momentum. He was practically getting his rear wheels lifted up off the ground. He was pushed so hard, and it still wasn't quite enough. They're going to go 3 wide for the lead down the back straightaway. The number 4 is going to try to split the middle. He's got the 99 up top. He's got the number 5 down low. The 99 fades back to row 2, and the number 4 is unable to complete the move. So it's going to settle out where Matt Cherry holds on to this lead, but what a bold move out of Mashburn.
Ben Mashburn is definitely not a shy one. Let's be honest, definitely one to make a bold move. We've seen it many times out of the driver of the number 4 machine over the last couple of seasons here in the National Sim Racing Association Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series. But now Philip Scott comes roaring back with a big push from the number 1 machine of Jason Grassi, so things continue to ebb and flow, closing in on 50 laps to go right now at sitting at 56 laps to go. Let's talk about some of the drivers that we haven't talked a whole lot about tonight. Jeff Price being one of those, the back channel production number 14, just kind of minding his P's and Q's just outside the top 10 right now. Right behind him is Garrett Gleason. I'll tell you who's not minding his P's and Q's. Down below the apron, Ben Mashburn there off of turn number 2. The U-Haul machine dropped. He was battling for the race lead just a moment ago, and now Andre falls all the way down to 10th.
Yeah, that is how quickly the tables can turn at these plate races. You can go from the top of the world down to the lowest of the lows very quickly. And the number 4, unfortunately, finding that out the hard way as he is now cycling behind the number 39 of Hausman. And he's got a little bit of work to do just on the edge of the top 10. But up front, not much is changing. You got Philip Scott still leading the way, but Jason Grassi is really putting up a fight for it. Matt Cherry there in 3rd, Tesoro in 4th, and I gotta wonder what game Tesoro's playing here, Peter. I think he's got a good enough truck to lead this thing, and I think he is competent enough for sure to be able to make the right moves at the right time, but it seems like we haven't seen him lead that many laps, and I gotta wonder if that's by decision because, again, Dominic, oh boy, close moment with the number 5, but Dominic, very talented driver, seems to have a lot of speed tonight, just not leading the laps I would expect.
Yeah, Tesoro just has been languishing around right where he started there in 4th. It looks like Philip Scott goes to the front. Jason Grassi is going to battle with him, waiting for Dominic Tesoro to get to his rear tailgate. But yeah, I'd agree with you, but there's still plenty of laps left. I mean, the only lap that really matters here tonight is the final one. That's the lap that you want to lead the most. And yeah, I would say, Andre, if you're in the top 5 with 2 laps to go, you're in with a shot. That is for certain. So we'll keep our eyes on who's able to get kind of into the top 5, and that's one of the reasons you kind of peg Dominic Tesoro as having a shot at the win here tonight, because he's always up there towards the front of the field. I did want to make mention a little bit further back in the pack, just looking over here at my left monitor. These drivers back here, there's Doug Neal. Remember, he got the Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Award under the one and only caution flag we've had here tonight. He's back there with his Simbox Motorsports teammates. Got the 971 right in front of him. Nathan Maurer right there. Then Doug Neal, and then David Buell, who is running that yellow number 52 Simbox Chevy Silverado. So these couple of teammates all working together. We're trying to not get all too dicey up there in the pack. There's still 51 laps to go. Minding their P's and Q's, but also staying close enough that they're staying in touch with that front pack. Something must have happened to Philip Scott here in the World Ninja League machine, because he just fell like a stone. Let's see if we can dial up exactly what happened here on this 3-wide TV replay to the World Ninja League driver.
We'll go ahead and dial this up, take another look at exactly what happened. And again, things can happen so quickly in these races, and a lot of drivers have suffered some sort of misfortune. Looks like he was getting a big push from the number 5 going into the corner. I think it was just a bit too much of a push. Dropped down to the apron, made the relatively smart choice to stay down on the apron rather than trying to blend up into traffic, but in doing so, gave up a lot of time. And I mentioned earlier, Peter, you really don't want to be pushing too hard in the corners, and that is exactly why.
Yeah, that little nudge, unfortunately, for Philip Scott has taken him all the way outside of the top 10. In fact, all the way down to the 15th position as Dominic Chisora will go across the line. And hey, look, Andre, he led a lap. So he is capable. He is capable of leading laps in the number 69 machine. He's got big help from Tristan Maher that time by as Matt Cherry gets sideways down there flirting with that yellow line. It seemed like that, white line rather, that white paint down there and the red paint just does not seem to be your friend. It seemed like these drivers should be staying away from it because it seems like it's more trouble than it's worth. We saw Jason Gracias and Matt Cherry there both clip it, but Matt Cherry there trying to stay away from the line that time. Hits it, slides up, and gets loose again on exit. You know Matt Cherry likes a loose race truck. I mean, we've seen him loose at Daytona and Talladega before here on 3 Wide TV, and he's kind of showing that again here tonight. Remember, he did go around in bringing out the first caution flag after a little bit of contact, but at least for right now, Cherry's back inside the top 5, trying to fight it out for the race win as we're coming to 45 to go this time.
I'll tell you what, if anybody is looking for a push at the end of this race, I think they're going to know exactly who to work with, because that number 5 is proving to be very aggressive, and he is going to push anybody. Anybody that gets in front of him is getting huge shoves like that right there, maybe a little bit too much. And you mentioned that white and red line. iRacing did code a difference in grip when you get onto that paint. The paint does have a different grip level, so these trucks, when they get 2 tires on it, there's going to be a bit of an offset as the 17 ducks down low. What a quick move that was. He was up on the top line. Oh boy! Oh no. Martin Pollute involved. I believe that's the 69. A lot of drivers from the front of the field as the 99 is going to have to come to a complete stop to avoid some of these trucks. We got somebody crab walking down the apron. Let's take another look at this wreck. It happened right at the front of the field here. I have an idea what happened, but looks like the number 11 got a little loose, had to chase it up the track, and then just made contact with another truck, and from there, nowhere for any of these guys to go. Chaos going on down there, and I can't quite tell who it was crab walking down the back straightaway after the wreck. I think it might have been either the 4 or the 11 going on board here, just right into that bed of the number 8 truck. A lot of damage to the front of that thing. We're riding on board now with Pollute. He was right in the thick of it here. Happens right in front of him. He tries to go high, which is really the only choice he had, but unfortunately that gap closed up, and the 7 came in, made some contact. I think 3 or 4 drivers might have got a piece of that number 8 truck, so unfortunately Pollute's luck not changing this week. The unfortunate streak continues. Here we are on board. Yeah, just a little bit of a push to that 69, too much.
Yeah.
Dominic Chisora, just kind of a bystander.
Yeah, unfortunate for the number 69. We were saying, hey, he's really good at putting his truck inside the top 5. Well, I guess we spoke too soon as he sits on pit road. Good news under this caution, however, if you are a Robbie Clavey fan, because Robbie's going to get the Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Award, the second Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Award we've thrown out here tonight. And let's give a big shout out to Brookstone Animal Hospital. Not only do they sponsor the Lucky Dog Award each and every week, in fact, they've been sponsoring it every season that we've broadcast here on 3 Wide TV, but they are local to the Atlanta, Georgia area, and if you are in that neck of the woods and you have a pet, well, you can check out the Brookstone Animal Hospital and care for your animal needs here and in the greater Atlanta, Georgia area. So a big shout out to them and a big thank you for sponsoring the National Sim Racing Association, making this all possible. As Robbie Clavey, I'm sure, is very glad that the Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Award exists because he will be able to fight this one out here in just a little bit for the win, as we are closing in quite quickly on 40 laps to go. Let's talk about the drivers on pit road. However, Martin Pollute still sits in his pit box, as is the number 69 machine of Dominic Tesoro, Garrett Gleason. I think the horsepower has run out on the Comans Care Chevy Silverado. Let's see if we can get a quick word with some of these drivers involved in this last accident. Just make sure. Well, no, unfortunately, the Silverado pace car lights are off. So if you are a driver here in the National Sim Racing Association, you were involved in that last accident, you want to jump up here into the booth, feel free to jump down into the interview waiting room, or shoot me a message or something in the chat, and get your take on exactly what went down here out there on the racetrack just a moment ago. But Andre, the pace truck lights are off, and I think we saw a 35 to 37 lap run under the first green flag run of these drivers on fuel. Now, we're not quite there, sitting with 42 laps to go, make that 41 when the green flag waves. So I think these drivers are just a little bit short on fuel. Do we think any of them can save enough? I mean, that would be saving an awful lot of fuel, you would think, especially on a super speedway, if they were to try and stretch it to the end.
Yeah, if they were on any other mile and a half, I would say maybe you could save 5 or 6 laps. But when you come to plate races, there's not a whole lot you can do to save fuel, because you are wide open the entire time. Really, your only option is to slip into the draft and hope that that slipstream helps conserve some fuel, but it's not going to conserve 5 laps over the course of a run, I don't think. We'll have to wait and see, but the pace truck does pull off, and it's going to be Mathis leading the field to the green alongside Maher in the number 17, and they're going to stay side by side, neither row getting a big jump here as we barrel into turn 1. You can see the track narrowing up there just a little bit, and it looks like Mathis does get the lead, and he is clear. So Mathis, he's had an up and down night, Peter. He was really sideways earlier tonight and had some issues, and, well, now he's found himself here in P1.
Yeah, with an interesting strategy call to get to P1. The only driver who did not come on to pit lane under this last caution flag. So the 06 is your race leader. Number 1 machine of Jason Grassi is right back behind him. If you're wondering exactly when Jeffrey Mathis was last on pit lane, that would be lap number 64. So you do the math. We're working lap number 91 right now. That was a good 27 laps ago by my math, which I would think he's only got probably about 12 to 13 more laps of fuel left in that Ford F-150 before he has to come down pit lane. That's going to be a little bit interesting, Andre, on whether or not that 06 Ford will be able to wait out another caution flag. I mean, we've only had 2 here tonight, kind of coming out every 40 or so laps if you do the math, but no, we'll just have to wait and see whether that 06 made a good strategy call, or will it come back to bite him?
Yeah, he's definitely banking on another caution. That is the strategy that he's playing, but obviously none of us have a crystal ball. We're not sure if there's going to be another caution. All we can say is that usually at the end of the race, things do get a little bit more intense. The aggression levels increase, and the likelihood of a caution goes up alongside it, but we'll have to wait and see. It's been a pretty unpredictable race so far, so it could work out. Maybe it won't. But it looks like Maher is doing a really good job up high, trying to make a move for the lead. As we go on board with the 99, Philip Scott, he's just kind of riding behind Jeff Price. He's doing what Martin Pollute was doing earlier in the race, just kind of lurking behind this lead pack, giving himself enough room where he can react if something happens, but close enough that he's staying in the draft. That's the thing. It is safer to hang back, sure, but you got to watch that little telemetry gauge, see how far back you are from the next car, because once you get about a second and a half back, you lose the draft, and from there, you're going the wrong way. So you get a little bit of leeway to play with, but you just got to be mindful.
Let's talk about one of these drivers that we haven't had a whole lot to say about here tonight, putting together a quiet night, having a little bit of connection issues there. That's the number 48 machine of Tom Lester, running right behind the number 29 of Adam Newton. Both of these drivers have been fairly quiet. Of course, that that connection issues that you're seeing there, not going to do all too well for the number 48. However, here's Tyler Bellinger, also been fairly quiet here tonight. Maybe he's waiting things out with that Batman on the front for the big accident. That last one was definitely bigger than the first one, Andre, but I still wouldn't categorize as a big one. It's getting close! Oh! Maher in the wall, maybe. Now is this the big
involved?
Houseman going through the grass.
No yellow flag yet.
Somehow they save it.
Yeah, they're going to stay green through wide. Stan Hausman just barely avoided getting clipped in the rear bumper. I think if he had been hit there a second time, that would have been a caution, but somehow just skates by as we take a look at the replay here. And man, oh man, there's a lot to dissect with this one. A lot of different trucks involved or nearly involved. Just keep your eye on the very front of the pack. A little bit of net coat from the number 6 into Maher. And from there, we got trucks scrambling to avoid the wreck. And in doing so, they make some contact with a few other guys. And Hausman, again, somehow able to save that thing. Great work there by the 39 to keep that straight and to not merge back up into traffic. But yeah, just a high-speed game of ping pong as the 39 is just bounced all over the track and somehow recovers it. Now quite a bit of damage on that 39, and we haven't talked a lot about the damage on these trucks tonight. It seems like they can take a bit of a beating and stay up to speed, but I don't know. I think he might be looking at some performance loss after that one.
Meanwhile, as everything's shaking out, look who's worked his way up to the front. That's number 64 machine of Vincent Valvano, who had that trouble earlier in the race getting down onto pit lane. He recovered from that, was your race leader at least for a moment, because Chris Darling and the 64 getting a little bit close on entry to turn number 1. That's exactly what caused that last accident that did not bring out the caution flag. But for right now, side by side at the front, the 64 on the inside of Valvano. That truck looks mostly clean. And on the high side, that's Chris Darling. Remember, Darling was involved in that accident a little while ago with the number 69 of Tesoro. That's now the 11's in the wall, and now the 11's going around here on the front stretch.
Oh, there it is.
As Jeff Price gets involved, the 06 gets involved. My, oh my, we got one truck out there smoking. Not sure who that is. Oh, it's the 48 machine of Tom Lester, who is out there with damage on his Chevy Silverado. Let's see if we can see what happened here. The 5 got into the back of the 11. And the 11 just went around the... sorry, folks. The 06 comes in, makes contact. Of course, 3-wide TV slow-mo. Right there, a couple of other drivers bouncing around. You see Matt Cherry spinning. Again, Matt Cherry just very fast here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, but it seems like more often than not gets involved in some accident. There goes that contact with the 48 machine, the 06 getting a chunk of it right there at the back end. Well, let's see if we can slow down that initial contact. That was just enough to spin around Chris Darling on the 3-wide TV slow motion. Look at him coming here through the tri-oval. Just enough contact, and then Darling gets into the outside wall. The 5 keeps going up. Darling's coming back down the racetrack after impacting the wall, and there you get a good look at that $19.95 plus tax price on the U-Haul. And look at, looks like Adam Newton. I don't know if Newton got lucky or not. Then the Ghost number 48 plowing into the number 5 machine. Nowhere for him to go. Looks like Jeff Price got lucky there. And then right here, a little bit of late accident contact. But unfortunately for some of those drivers, it will be night done. Vincent Valvano came down onto pit road. And looks like Jason Gracias will tip him to the timing line. So Gracias will be our race leader of the 46 of Valvano, 64 rather, of Valvano in second. And Adam Newton, how about that? Budweiser number 29. He was running about 10th position or so just a little while ago, Andre. And now he's up there in third after what is now the third caution of the night.
Yeah, he's been up and down, and he finds himself in a pretty good position now. And really, for anybody that wasn't in that wreck, that caution was kind of a godsend, because now they know that they're going to be good on fuel. They know they're going to be good on tire wear. It's just going to be a flat-out race to the end. Unfortunately for Mathis, he did get that caution he needed. It's just that he was involved in it, so that's going to put him back in the field and kind of nullify the strategy that he was pulling there. It's going to be pretty wild. We've seen a lot of aggression out of these guys. It's just kind of been ramping up slowly over time, and right up leading to that caution, it was getting pretty crazy. The number 5, Matt Cherry, he was real aggressive with those pushes all night long, and he's not the only one. So it's going to be pretty crazy when they take this green flag. There's not a whole lot of racing left. We're on lap 103 out of 130, so the clock is ticking in terms of getting out there, getting up front, and getting the win. But yeah, a lot of drivers up front, like you pointed out there, Peter, that just haven't really been up here tonight. We've got Bellinger, we've got Adam Newton, we got Nate Maurer. All these drivers have been a little bit further back, but now, thanks to everything that happened, they're up front, they got a shot at it, and the question is, what are they going to do with this opportunity?
Yeah, you've had those drivers just lurking. And now that the truck count is starting to drop, at least in the count of trucks that don't have a lot of damage, this is the time when they're going to start sneaking their way up to the front. You know, everyone wants to go to victory lane, and you have to think about it. There's only 3 races left, including tonight, until the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Chase. Top 10 drivers enter the chase here in the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series. That's a pretty big pretty big drop. You want to be in that top 10 in points before we get there. Of course, next week we go to Martinsville Speedway. Then we have the end of summer break, and then go to the Milwaukee Mile, which is the cutoff race. So, a little bit of connection issues there for Vincent Valvano. Hopefully he's able to get things sorted out, as Jason Gracias will be the control car for this upcoming restart here at the front of the field. Green flag waves once again. And Gracias on the lap pedal. He's going to bring Nathan Maurer with him up to the front. Maurer going to clear the number 64. As that inside line just did not get a great jump. And look at Tyler Bellinger, the number 21 machine on that outside. Batman on the hood. He's trying to find some friends, but no one out there with him right now.
Yeah, the line just really isn't forming up. Interestingly, we got the 99 dropping back towards the back of the field here. Maybe he didn't want to be in this pack up front. He saw the way things were going and how scrambled everybody was getting, and he decided, all right, I ain't comfortable with that. He dropped down, did so in a very safe fashion, and got back up behind him, and now he's kind of in a comfortable position to watch these guys battle it out and just kind of wait and see exactly what's going to happen there in the catbird seat. He does have somebody behind him as well. I believe that is White in the number 2 following along there. Both these guys in pretty comfortable positions. Nate Maurer still has the lead. Valvano there is in second. Very fast truck all night long. Not quite able to take the lead quite yet from Maurer. And, you know, what do you do in this situation is, oh man, somebody's in the wall there. I believe that was the number 4 of Mashburn, just scraping the outside wall. But as I was saying, passing seems to be pretty difficult here, Peter. Normally, plate races, you see a lot of passes going on, and we have seen some trucks able to carve their way through the field. But when it comes to passing for the lead, it seems like a lot of the runs we've seen stall out just as you get the advantage, and the guy that you're trying to pass just pulls back out in front of you. The high line, it doesn't seem to be sufficient enough to take that lead. You're going to see the number 1 gets a good run here, side drafts him a little bit, gets the advantage, but I don't think it's going to be enough when they get to the corner. It will be enough. I was wrong. Look at that. Jason Gracias with quite possibly the best pass for lead we've seen all night. That was textbook.
Yeah, I have to say that the little bit of side drafting that we saw there out of Jason Gracias, that was absolute textbook stuff. Fantastic job just to get him that little extra momentum to get up to the front. But now look at Ben Mashburn. Mashburn's going to lead the lap using that high line. So the high line, all of a sudden, maybe the track conditions are such that that high line is getting stronger as the race is continuing on, as we have one of our slower vehicles returning back out onto the racetrack. I do think that happens to be maybe Robert Clavey and the number 7-3 get back out there racetrack. Tough break for him. We received that Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog award just a little while ago. Now back out there is, was that Tristan Maher in the outside wall? I think it was there, the second truck on the outside line, as the outside line stalls out.
Yeah, it really did stall out something fierce there for a moment. They're going to have to gather that back up. Gracias still has the lead. Maurer there in second place. He's got Newton right behind him on the inside, and that outside is really trying here, Peter. You've got Stan Hausman and the number 4 of Mashburn really working together here. Very aggressive on the bump drafts. That's what they need to do if they want to get up there. But risk versus reward. We've seen bump drafts go sideways, no pun intended, several times tonight. So you got to do it. You got to do it well. As we have the number 6 down on the apron. He's coming out of the pits after getting some damage fixed up. Luckily, everybody able to avoid him here. But finally, looks like that top line's starting to get formed up, Peter. And look at that, the number 17, Tristan Maher. I was going to count him out as hard as he hit that wall. I thought, man, there's no way that truck is still in alignment. But here he is, in 6th place, making a move here, working the high line. Seems like that truck might still have a little bit of speed in it.
So somehow, some way, still a little bit of speed in some of these beat-up, damaged trucks out there. And they're kind of big and boxy, these trucks, so damage doesn't seem to affect them a whole lot. Stan Hausman doing a good job with that damaged truck there. The 17 to Maher, as well as Maher went 3 wide there for just a brief moment, backed out of it, as we're down to just 19 laps to go. There's another truck returning to the racetrack down there on the bottom hand corner of the screen. 19 laps to go. Gracias Mashburn up the front. Nathan Maurer also heavy in the fight. Stan Hausman, of course, he wants to get a win at his home racetrack. Tristan Maher and Adam Newton rounding out our top 6. Vincent Valvano, we know he has a clean truck. How about the number 52? We mentioned that he was laying back with his other Simbox teammates a little while ago, but that is David Buell in the right chartreuse Simbox machine. They're right at the bottom of the corner for just a brief moment. Behind him is Jeff Price and Tyler Bones, are currently rounding out your top 10, but kind of 2 by 2 by 2 up at the front, and that has been kind of the story of the night. It seems like really, Andre, if you get 3 trucks in a line, you're gonna be as fast as the other line. You just sometimes need a little bit extra help, as Ben Mashburn tried to get a little bit of extra side draft off the side of Jason Gracias there. That last time by was just enough for him to get across the line, maybe learning some tips and tricks for the run for the checkered flag.
Absolutely. And man, oh man, I'm just watching this pack. It's condensing itself. These guys are literally bumper to bumper. There was almost a second between 1st and 9th just a few moments ago. Now it's down to 0.7 of a second between the top 10, just about. That is so packed in. None of these guys have anywhere to go. They are boxed into the max, just trying to get to the end of this thing. The number 4, after all the issues he's had, Mashburn is making another run at it, trying to take this lead away from Mashburn. And I'll tell you what, anybody trying to take the lead, they could learn something from what Mashburn did, or not Mashburn, I'm sorry, from what Gracias did earlier on that high line. Doing that little bit of side drafting, I think, is what sealed the deal for him to make that move up top. But I think a lot of these guys are a little bit hesitant to do that side drafting. It's really easy to mess up, really easy to make a mistake and cause a massive incident. Nobody really wants to be that guy, but if you can do it right and you can do it cleanly, that's how you're going to take the lead. And Mashburn's going to have to side draft that number 1 if he wants to get the lead, because you can't ask for much more draft help. He's got Stan Hausman pushing him. Hausman himself is being pushed by Tristan Maher, who then is being pushed by Valvano. These guys are doing everything they can draft-wise. They just need that little something to push them over the edge.
Yeah, that little bit extra, of course, will become most important when we get to the white flag lap, as that outside line starting to come a little bit attached. They thought about 3 wide there through the quad oval for just a brief moment, get things back to 2 by 2. We have seen 3 wide here tonight, but we really haven't seen continuous 3 wide. Seems like 3 wide has lasted for no more than half a lap before these drivers get things settled back down. And now starting to see more aggressive side drafting, as Mashburn again able to pull ahead of Jason Gracias to the line. Gracias was leaving a lot of bottom open there on entry into turn number 1. Nathan Maurer decided not to fill that void as they kind of come back and forth to one another. Contact, we're 3 wide now as Tristan Maher tries to go up through the middle. Stan Hausman playing a little bit of bumper cars with the 17, who then gets down into the number 29. Somehow they sort things out. We're still clean and green here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Well, laps to go, just 18 miles left here in the BeerStreetJournal.com 200.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, when do these guys start to go 3 wide? When do they get to that point? And I guess I got my answer. 13 to go is when they want to go 3 wide. And they pulled it off. They made it work. A little bit sketchy there for a minute, but everything sorted itself out. And now it looks like the top line is starting to deteriorate a little bit here. Not as many trucks up there as there were before. But look at this. Mashburn is starting to use that side draft. And he's using it quite efficiently. He doesn't have really any draft help at all other than Maher, and he's still clinging on to second place and even getting around on the leader occasionally. But he's got to keep up that side draft. You can see him just ducking down on the straightaways here. There he goes again, just pulling Maurer back a little bit, using a bit of a shot from the 17 here. But man, oh man, to get around 2 cars here, that is going to be tough, especially Jason Gracias. I mean, this guy has how many wins this season, and he's looking to add another one to the old scorecard. Here comes Mashburn again on the outside, trying to get that side draft. He is going to pull him back. A huge shot from Maurer is going to get Gracias sideways. I believe he actually made contact with the number 4, but it was just a little bit. They're able to keep it going. Oh, man.
Yeah, 10 laps to go. We'll make that 9 this time as they go across the stripe. Jason Gracias, Andre, you mentioned it. He has 6 wins to his tally in 9 starts this season, trying to make that 7 from 10. I'll tell you what, a 70% win ratio is pretty impressive. Pretty impressive if he can pull it off here tonight. I mean, 6 out of 9. That's pretty impressive. That's nothing to be scoffed at either. You see some of these slower trucks having to stay below the red line there as they head towards turn number, and I think that might have been briefly there 4 wide using the apron. Don't often say that, but I think the drivers on the apron were 2 wide while all the drivers on the racetrack were kind of 2 wide. That's a little sketchy, but hey, we make it work. Everyone okay. Gracia is still leading. Make it 8 laps to go now as we head down the back stretch, just trying to use that high line. And one thing I've noticed, though, Andre, is ever since that move that Tristan Maher put on the number 39 of Stan Hausman, that outside line just has not been as strong. Now, looks like Vincent Valvano, the 64, trying to form up back there with Justin White, another driver who's been extremely quiet here tonight, trying to work his way up to the front here in the closing laps. But if that outside line can't get another truck up there, I kind of feel like they're dead in the water, at least at this point. They just don't seem to have the momentum like the inside, like Gracias, Maurer, and Newton, who are just nose to tail lined up very well down there. We still have time. Coming to 6 to go this time as, Mashburn gets really loose. He's going to go up the racetrack. Great save there out of the number 4 Toyota. As, Maher gets turned by David Buell, and caution flag will wave.
I think there was more trucks caught up in that we maybe didn't see there, and if there wasn't, it was a miracle. I mean, he spun right in front of everybody. Let's go ahead and dial up our 3-wide TV replay and see if everybody was able to scramble around the 17. I'm not sure. The 17 was trying to be a gentleman there. He was trying to let the number 4 back in line because he had got him a little bit sideways, and I think he felt he owed him that to get out of the throttle, let him get back in line. And as he was slowing down and trying to make room for the number 4, you had the 52 truck coming along. He had a big run and just maybe made a bit of a miscalculation there. But look at that, Peter. Oh, my goodness. Everybody was able to get through that. I mean, I don't think you could have put a piece of paper between those guys, and somehow it is only the 17 involved. That could have been huge.
Now let's get another look at this one. There we go. Get the camera all pointed right as I think he just kind of came down a little bit on David Buell.
Yeah, from that angle, he was shifting lanes.
Not sure if there's a whole lot that David Buell could have done about that. Of course, at this point of the race, Andre, are you going to lift at this point of the race?
Not a chance. Not a chance.
I'm going to say I think I agree with you. I agree with you on that one.
Yeah, the first angle, looking at it from the infield, it did kind of look like the 52 would kind of come up, but when you look at it from the grandstand's perspective there, yeah, 17 was, again, he was trying to do the right thing. He was trying to make room for the number 4, and unfortunately, it's one of those things. You've got how many cars under a blanket here, not a whole lot of room to navigate, and just a slight miscalculation, a little bit of a nudge, kind of spun himself off the 52's bumper. And now he's got a lot of ground to make up, as we do have a Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Award. That's going to Matt Cherry in the number 5. He's going to get one of his laps back here. Actually, he is 6 laps down, so he should be up to 5 laps down. Not sure he's going to get 5 more cautions in 4 laps, but you never know. Stranger things have happened, as we are up to our 4th caution of the night. And this is going to be interesting. When we go green, I believe we'll be just about on a green-white checkered, Peter. So 1 lap to wind up, 1 lap to race it out. Who's going to try to make some crazy moves here?
Well, we know Ben Mashburn. We know he likes to make crazy moves in the number 4 machine. He's, back there with a shot. Like I said, kind of if you're inside the top 5 with 2 laps to go, there's definitely a chance. If you're a little bit further back, if all chaos breaks loose up at the front, there's a chance. Let's be honest. I've seen drivers win from outside the top 10 on the final lap because the top 10 all wrecks. That's just the nature of the beast at these Super Speedway races. So that might very well happen. But I really think we're going to see something crazy out of Ben Mashburn here on this upcoming restart. Pace truck lights are off. So this is not going to be a Beer Street Journal last call. This is going to be just a generic green-white checker. But if we get another caution flag within the lap, it will be a Beer Street Journal last call. It would be kind of fitting here in the BeerStreetJournal.com 200. Just hopefully it doesn't involve the Beer Street Journal number 39 there. Stan Hausman, who's in 6th. David Buell's kind of a wild card. I haven't really seen him up there a whole lot. We know Nate Maurer can be very aggressive in that 971 truck. We've seen that before. Interestingly enough, Jason Gracias is going to choose the inside line for this restart. He's chosen the outside line for previous restarts. That's going to be interesting to see if the outside line can get rolling soon enough. Adam Newton, what can he do? He's seemed pretty steadfast to the inside line there, Andre, but if the opportunity arises, maybe we'll see the 29 jump to the high line. It's kind of all bets are off here with 2 laps to go when the green flag waves.
All bets are off indeed. At this point, I think any alliances that you might have built up throughout the course of the race are pretty much null and void, and I think the same thing goes for rivalries. If you're not really happy with a guy that's been racing you hard, maybe pushing you a little bit too much, I don't think you really care about that either. In fact, you might want that guy who was aggressive earlier, who was annoying you. You might want him behind you because you know he's going to push you up front if he can. It's just going to be a free-for-all, every man for himself as the pace car pulls off the track, and Jason Gracias gets a pretty good start, but I'll tell you what, that top line was formed up beautifully. Mashburn never left the bumper of Maurer. I mean, that was almost in perfect unison, and they have a pretty good run to show for it as, oh boy, a little bit of side draft in there, contact! Oh boy, looks like Maurer's going to lose some track position there, coming down the back straightaway, he's going to cycle into 3rd. Now you've got Newton on the bumper of the leader. He looks to the high line, trying to find a way around Gracias. Can't quite find it there through 3 and 4 for the penultimate time. Coming to the white flag, Newton sideways. He's going to avoid the wall just barely. Mashburn coming back up into 2nd place. White flag is in the air. It's the final lap of the race. Newton is sideways. This is the official race. Oh my goodness, Gracias spinning. Mashburn's in the lead. They're going to race back to the start-finish line. Nobody's even close to Maurer. Maurer takes the lead.
Nate Maurer, he could almost coast back to the start-finish line right now. Nate Maurer, as the field implodes on the final lap here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Nate Maurer coming out of turn number 4, gonna get home the win, and look who's gonna come home in 2nd. Tyler Bellinger, I think that's the first time we've seen him in the top 5 tonight, and our points leader, Philip Scott, whose engine has grenaded, coming to the line. The 99 has made it. Ninja Phil with the ninja smoke right there. going to have to kill all the bugs and stuff. He's going to come home with a third-place finish. What a wild and zany final lap. Nate Maurer goes to victory lane.
I tell you what, I think Philip Scott better be writing a Christmas card to the number 5 machine, because without that push from the 5, I'm not sure he was making it back to the line, especially not back onto the line on the podium. That was pretty cool. A little bit of sportsmanship there out of the 5 to give him a shove. And Nate Maurer, I mean, he was fast all day, but, I'm not sure either of us, Peter, had him pegged to win. Yet here he is, surviving all the crazy attrition here at the end. Really, in a race, there's only one lap that matters, the last lap, and guess who was out front? It was that 971 machine, and he is going to burn it down to the ground with a well-earned victory here. That's a nice burnout right there. He's going all the way.
Yeah, and this will be the second win this season for the 971 of Nathan Maurer, to add to his win from Talladega earlier in the season. So 2 wins on 2 super speedways for the 971 truck. I know he was pretty good in the Super Speedway Series when we broadcasted that here on 3 Wide TV a couple seasons ago. And so he's pretty good on these tracks where you have to play your cards right at the very end and burn it down until that engine finally pops. I think very, very happy. And Tyler Bellinger, what a great finish for him. Hadn't really said a whole lot about him, as I don't think he spent much of the night at all inside the top 5, maybe just a handful of moments, for the most part around the 10th position, give or take a couple. But he's going to be very happy with that. Jason Gracias will not get his 7th win of the season. Ben Mashburn in 5th. Man, I think everyone at home probably were wondering what the heck all happened on that final lap. So once the 971 finishes his burnout here, we're definitely going to figure out what all happened to eventually lead to the 971 and his race win here on 3 Wide TV. Let's see if we can jump over to that right now. We know it all happened kind of up near the front of the field. Look at all this chaos. And look at Maurer. Look at the 971 machine. He's completely sideways. Goodness. He's drift kinging it through turn number 1 and 2. Meanwhile, everyone back here playing ping pong with cars. Stan Hausman in his home race going almost.
Oh, he's going to flip.
Yeah, almost made it up and over. That was mighty close. But all chaos still breaking. Look at this. The driver's still wrecking. Look at Tyler Bellinger somehow sneaking on through as the number 64, Vincent Valvano, got involved. Here comes the number 2 getting a shot into the side of Vincent Valvano. Look at Philip Scott, our 3rd place finisher there, going through the grass. There's Adam Newton laying a lick on the side of the number 52. It looked like, I know preseason football's back, but I don't think that's what these drivers had in mind. Let's see if we can play this one once again, full speed. Here we go. Watch the number 52 machine here at David Buell. Everything's good here. He gets kind of tagged. They start wadding him up again. Oh, gee, Vincent Valvano with an absolute pile driver there by Adam Newton as well. Just absolute chaos. I think we're going to have to see, we're going to have to figure out what all happened here with the 971 machine, because the 971 machine, just how he did what he did. Let's see if we can go. Let's go on board with the 971 machine of Nathan Maurer. There's the contact. He goes sliding here. Somehow Ben Mashburn took out Jason Gracias. We're going to have to see what happened there. But he saved it, came back up the racetrack, and he said, see y'all later.
And what a save it was. I think he might have been watching some Initial D while he was doing this race, because he definitely took a note out of Takami's book there, getting that thing gathered up right back onto the track. And just talk about a mixture of luck and skill. Not only was that a masterful save, but also just right place, right time. Everybody explodes behind him. Everybody wrecks in front of him. And he's just able to kind of sneak his way through. And man, oh man, just I think the 29 getting loose was the catalyst to all of this. But there goes the number 4, who I thought was going to win this race. I looked at the timing and scoring right when that wreck happened, and I thought, oh, he got through it. But no, he did not get through it, not even close. And a lot of damage there. And Peter, can we queue up a replay of the 99 finishing this race? Because I think, yeah, there we go. The number 5, I believe, gave him a bit of a push through the corner. Let's see when they link up here, because I know when they came out of this corner. Yep, here we go. There it is. Giving him the shove. I love it.
Well, there was no one anywhere close. I mean, Jason Gracias was the next truck to finish. And Philip Scott's at the line now. Jason Gracias just came out of turn number 4. Absolute crazy finish for everyone here tonight on 3 Wide TV. Let's see if, however, we can bring up tonight's top 3 finishers. It's going to be fun to talk to our top 3. That's for certain. Let's see if we can start with the driver of the number 99 machine, Philip Scott. Philip, Peter Short, 3 Wide TV booth. You got a copy?
Yeah.
Well, sounds like you're having a good chuckle. Finishing in 3rd here tonight, the BeerStreetJournal.com 200. Super Speedway race. You never know what's going to happen. You never really know when it's going to happen. Well, a lot happened on that final lap. Kind of talk us through your race and what all you saw out the front of that World Ninja League machine right there. We saw you going through the grass.
Yeah, so it was a very eventful race, to say the least. I was very bummed that it was new Atlanta, not old Atlanta, because last time we were here, I was so close to winning, and so I wanted revenge. But yeah, so I just did my usual super speedway tactics. I just kind of felt it out, just thought about, and I had some good. I was almost caught up in some wrecks, and I had some good avoidance, and I pretty much just chilled most of the race, except a couple times I kind of felt like racing, and so I did. And then I knew that there was going to be a wreck before we got to the white flag. Like, I knew that there wasn't gonna not be a green, white, checkered, so I was just like, so when it was down to only 13 cars, I just kind of chilled in the back, because I knew that I was just saving tires, and I knew that I could, because tires actually matter a lot when you're in the pack, and so I was just chilling, going around, and then the wreck happened, and so then I thought there was a wreck with 2 to go. I saw it, and then I kind of backed out, and then final lap, I'm just like, all right, I'm just going to go full speed and full throttle, and there was a big wreck, and I just kept going full throttle, and just like went to the apron, got whacked, and I had tons of smoke, and my car was sputtering at like 100 miles an hour, but I just put it in 4th so it wouldn't blow. I was cracking up because I saw I got 3rd.
Yeah, it was a crazy finish there. Definitely. Yeah. And you look at the race, not a whole lot of caution. I think only 4 caution flags here tonight. But that last accident definitely pulling them all out of the water. That's for sure. But Philip, I know next week we go to Martinsville Speedway, the paperclip. Definitely a lot different than what we saw here tonight. What are your thoughts about going to Martinsville?
Yeah, Martinsville is very tricky. Very tricky to save tires, because you're always heating up those brakes, always having to turn tight. But I tend to have, like I always say, I tend to have better runs at short tracks than I think I do. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Martinsville.
Yeah, definitely going to be an interesting one. And of course, currently the points leader as well, going to add to that tally here tonight. Only 2 races left after tonight until the chase here in the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series. What are your thoughts about the chase, and how can you start preparing for it now?
Yeah, I pretty much like I wouldn't say gone all in, but like I've just my skill levels just improved a lot this past season. Like second half of last season, I was turning on the jets when I got my first win and everything. And this season, I just feel so much more consistent and stuff. I've just been racing a lot better, and I'm kind of surprised I have as much of a points lead as I do. But then it all resets. Me and Tristan are pretty close in the playoff points, so it all resets. But it's looking at the chase right now. I think that it's a pretty good set of tracks that tend to have good results at, and I tend to like Pocono and Glen, of course. I'm definitely gonna try to win that one. Obviously, I mean I try to win everything, but I'm a road guy, so. And yeah, Bristol always liked, Chicagoland always liked, Charlotte always liked, Kentucky always liked. I always wear my tires out at Phoenix. We'll see how that goes, and then I got second at Vegas last year, so we'll see if I can get revenge.
Yeah, we'll see. Definitely going to be a lot of fun here once we do make it to chase season. But Philip, before I let you go, any shout-outs you'd like to give out?
Yep, I've already spoke too long, but I will say World Ninja League, new season coming up. Check out our new website. It's still under construction. I'm still working on it, but if you want to go to worldninjaleague.org, and you can come check it out.
All right. Well, folks, that's going to do it for our third place interview here tonight to driver of the number 99 World Ninja League machine, Ninja Phil. Good luck next week in Martinsville.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Like I said, that's going to do it for our second place interview. And I believe that hopefully Andre Graham Bush has caught up with tonight's runner-up, Tyler Bellinger.
Mr. Bellinger, you got a copy? Tyler Bellinger, Andre up in the 3YTV booth. You got a copy, bud?
Yeah, I got you. Sorry, I was muted.
You're all right. Well, Tyler, I don't know if there is words to describe the end of that race, but whatever it was, you got through it and you wound up on the podium. Just tell me a little bit about that chaos from your perspective behind the wheel of that 21.
Well, not to sound smug, but that's what I was, counting on happen all race. I hung out in the back and played it safe. I pit on that last caution, and I couldn't see with this track being so narrow in the super speedway style, not having a giant wreck on the last lap. I just couldn't see it. So they started to wreck at the line on one to go, and I checked up thinking that was going to be the one, and kind of spaced us out in the back a little bit. Nothing bad happened there, and then just chaos ensued going into turn one on the final lap, and I was able to. I saw it coming, went down way low on the apron. And I had one guy right at the end slide down and clip me on the tail end, the right rear. And if he had it, it dropped me way down in speed. I had a downshift to get back up to speed. If he hadn't hit me, probably catch Nate there at the end. So I had two options. It was play it safe and hope for the big one and hope I get through it for a good finish, or I'm finishing outside the top 10. And I got lucky in that happening.
And it was a great finish. Now, you mentioned the track being really narrow, and you kind of predicted that would lead to some trouble at the end of the race. But what kind of challenges did this narrow track pose during the rest of the race? Just, at the midway point, when you guys are just in a pack racing, how much more difficult was this layout of Atlanta versus a track like, let's say, Talladega or Daytona?
The runs are just so much faster, it felt like. This was my first time on this track tonight, and it just felt like the runs you get were insane. I was sitting back there in 10th, 12th, 13th most of the night. I was 3/4 throttle around the whole track. If that last caution didn't come out, I was going to have enough fuel saved to make it the whole way, and that required saving 5 or 6 laps. I just couldn't believe how fast of a run you could really get, and just, you can make some crazy moves, but it's not going to work out very well. So, the track felt good, felt fast, felt pretty solid. A lot of people seemed really loose. I think they dropped a lot of brake bias tonight, and a lot of people were complaining about being real loose. I kept mine a little higher, so I felt pretty sturdy with it. But, yeah, I played it safe most of the night. A lot of guys did, and the few that did not do very well in the beginning or the end. So I predicted 8 on the over-under of DNFs. I'm not sure how many there actually was, but I might have been spot on with that.
I think you were definitely close for a while there. It was looking like my guess of no more than 4 was going to be pretty accurate. We only had 2 cautions in the first 70 some odd laps of the race, and then things got a little bit crazier. But yeah, I would say your bet was pretty accurate. Well, Tyler, again, it was a great run. Congratulations on the podium. Before we let you go, is there any shout outs that you'd like to make?
I had some fans in the chat today, Sammy Harrell and Tyler Tyone. So big shout outs to them and everybody who puts the league together. Appreciate it.
Alrighty, well, thank you for your time, Mr. Bellinger, and we'll be talking to you next week, hopefully.
Ready. Bye.
That was your second place finisher out of the booth, and Peter, I believe while I was talking, you were making the quick jog down to victory lane to have a word with our race winner.
Yeah, the 971 machine of Nathan Maurer. Hopefully we can catch up with him. Nathan Maurer, Peter Short, 3YTV booth. You got a copy?
I got you guys. How you doing?
Hey, we're doing pretty good. The wild zany finish, man. I absolutely love those wild zany finishes because you can never call them, and then all of a sudden, all chaos breaks loose. And I thought the number 4 machine of Mashburn was going to get victory lane there for a second, and then he lost control of the car, and Gracias was spinning, and we got people playing ping pong with one another and bumper cars and making it look like WWE behind you. But somehow out of the smoke, the Simbox 971 goes to victory lane. Talk us through those final laps. I knew that you were definitely one to keep an eye on there in the late stages, but you did a great job getting the win.
Thanks. Yeah, I always am at these super speedways. Well, I guess you can call it super speedway races like one. I just always stay in the back and let all the guys I think they can win on the first 20 laps go out there and wreck themselves, which always happens. And then the other last couple that last restart there, I was very surprised Jason doored me coming out of turn 2. I was like, okay, it's on now. And I don't even know. Yeah, he doored me, and big shout out to Stan Hausman for not taking me 3 wide. I thought it was going to get ugly going into 3. And all of a sudden, I think someone hit Stan, and I got tagged in the right rear, and it spun me. And then next thing I see Ben Mashburn going up and not even letting off the gas and dumping Jason. And then I see the wreck it again in my rear view, and it's like, I just got to save this truck. And I saved it. And, I mean, if I would have called up to Ben, if Ben was in the lead going to turn 3, he would have got payback for what he did to Jason. He would have never won the race. But it was fun. I mean, this track is definitely a lot of fun. I miss the old Atlanta. I like that one better, but this is still a lot of fun.
Yeah, it did look like quite a bit of fun out there tonight. Were you expecting more cautions than what we had here tonight? Or because I think in the end we only technically had 4. I don't know if you want to count that last one as a caution because of all the chaos. But what were you expecting when the green flag fell?
You know, when you come to these tracks, any track, I mean, we always think we're going to have a lot of cautions, and then it never happens. I mean, I remember you telling me a couple weeks ago, 270 laps of green flag racing, something like that, since we had that one caution. I think it was in here. I can't remember. But I don't know. I always feel like we're going to have a lot of cautions. And tonight, I mean, it took till lap 20, I forget when it was, 30-something, maybe 40-something, and then cautions breed cautions. But now, I mean, I actually think 4 is a little bit higher than what we were going to have tonight.
Well, definitely put on a good show for the fans from the drop the green all the way to the checkers. But if you weren't thinking that, or you're disappointed maybe, or you thought maybe there was going to be more cautions this week and there just weren't, well, hey, we got probably plenty of cautions in store next week because we go to Martinsville. What are your thoughts about the paperclip?
I might do the same thing, just ride in the back, hopefully not get lapped by Jason Gracias. But I might stay in the back and let all the numbnuts wreck themselves out again and hopefully come out of there with a top 5.
Well, trying to get top 5s, that's the name of the game, especially as we move towards the chase here in the National Sim Racing Association. But hey, before we let you go, Nate, any shout-outs you'd like to give out?
Got a shout out to all my teammates. I straight up told everybody 20 laps ago, nobody of us is going to win this race. We were just too far back, and I thought it was going to go green, but I was wrong. Shout out to you guys for broadcasting this these races every Friday. Shout out to Justin, Chris, whoever else is helping. Martin Pollute running the whole NSRA thing between the 2 different series. And if you need a button box, hit up Simbox PC on Facebook. That's my main sponsor. And also to Scott Tompkins, very professional race controller. If you need a race controller, hit him up. Don't know how much he charges, but whatever he charges, it's definitely worth it.
Absolutely. Of course, Simbox based in the greater Atlanta, Georgia area as well. So pretty cool that they get to win on home turf. Nate, congratulations on getting the win here tonight. And we'll see you again next week at Martinsville.
Hi, guys. You guys have a good week.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for our race-winning interview with Nathan Maurer here tonight. Definitely one very, very happy driver here, Andre, and definitely one who going to have a lot of fun when we go next week to the beautiful Martinsville Speedway. But let's see if we can bring up tonight's final race results for everyone back at home. Let's bring them up. There we go. Finally coming up. Nate Maurer takes home the W. Tyler Bellinger coming home in second with that last lap chaos. Philip Scott coming home in third, almost 15 seconds behind Maurer. Gracias in fourth. Ben Mashburn coming home in fifth. Vincent Valvano and David Buell, the only other two drivers, believe it or not, to make it across the line on the lead lap. Adam Newton, Stan Hausman, 8th and 9th, both did not finish. Jeff Price also did not finish there. Scored one lap down, Andre.
And just behind Jeff Price, Tristan Maher, who overcame a lot of incidents and a lot of damage. Unfortunately, just could not escape that bad luck. Winds up P11 after an eventful night. Doug Neal quietly sneaking into 12th there. Justin White had another driver who was just kind of up and down on a roller coaster tonight. Winds up P13. Matt Cherry, after pushing the 99 to the line, he's going to finish P14. Robbie Clevey, Jeffrey Mathis, Dominic Tesoro in P17. P18 goes to Tom Lester, and looking just a little bit further back from them to round out our top 20. Christopher Darling, very fast early on, but involved in an incident later on, winds up P19. And Garrett Gleason rounds out your top 20.
Yeah, Martin Pollute, the only other driver here tonight to take laps, as Scott Tompkins, Jimbo, and Chris Hone. All those drivers did not start here tonight. So a lot of fun here at the beautiful Atlanta Motor Speedway. Definitely didn't exactly know what to expect here on the Super Speedway edition of this racetrack with its new reconfigurement. But definitely put on a show all the way to the end. You wanted to stay on 3Y TV until the checkered flag fell. Once again, like you do every week here, the National Sim Racing Association always keeping us on our toes, as they will next week at the Martinsville Speedway. But I want to give a few shout-outs here tonight. Of course, one of those shout-outs is to Simbox Motorsports in Victory Lane, but also a sponsor of the Simbox Biggest Mover of the Race Award. And that's going to go to Jason Gracias here tonight, plus 19 spots up to finish inside the top 5. So congratulations to Gracias to pick up that award. Also want to give a shout out to tonight's race sponsor, of course, BeerStreetJournal.com. Go check them out for all of your craft beer news. Stay Tuned Sports and the Stay Tuned Sports podcast. Of course, NFL season is going to be ramping up soon. Week 1 of preseason is this weekend. In fact, I think there's some preseason games on right now, and you're going to want to hear what Jimbo has to say all season long. Just recently came out with a new logo as well for Stay Tuned Sports. Maybe we'll see that here on the broadcast here shortly. But really, really cool stuff. It's going to be fun to keep tabs on what they have to say all season long throughout the NFL, as well as the other sports going on. Really just MLB and NASCAR at this point of the year until the NFL gets in full swing, but also college football and all that good stuff. So if you haven't picked up the Stay Tuned Sports podcast yet, make sure you do so here very soon in the next couple of weeks. Simbox, facebook.com/SimboxPC. We've mentioned them a couple of times. Of course, Eclipse Photography. Brookstone Animal Hospital gave out a couple of Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Awards here tonight. JNR Craftworks, really, really cool custom gifts and items that you can put around your home as decor or trophies and whatnot. Basically, if you have an idea, JNR Craftworks can craft it together. So make sure you check them out as well. But Jimbo, a lot of fun here tonight. Going to be a lot of fun next week at Martinsville. I'm ready to go back short track racing. We've had a couple of short tracks here over the last couple of weeks, and they've always been a good show, and I'm sure Martinsville will be as well.
Oh yeah, Martinsville is always a great time, especially in the trucks. I think there's some of the best cars to bring there, and I'm looking forward to it. But it was a fun race tonight, and yeah, hopefully the fans got what they bargained for here at the Super Speedway rendition of the track. Ton of fun, very unexpected ending, and I think a lot of drivers, Peter, are probably breathing a sigh of relief, regardless of how good or poor they performed tonight, because now this track is in their rear view, and they can get to some tracks that maybe they feel are a little bit more predictable.
That is for certain. Folks, I want to thank you for bearing with us with our technical gremlins here tonight. I'm going to have to go through all my audio settings. I've literally realized that it even affected my Discord audio settings and other audio settings that I've had as I've been kind of looking around. So hopefully we can get it all squared away, figured out. But thank you for your patience here tonight. But until we see you again here on 3 Wide TV, stay safe and all that good stuff, and we shall see ya!